Welcome to the Spiritist Companion Podcast. My name is Yuri Castro, and as usual, I'll be your companion on this journey where we study, reflect, and put Spiritist teachings into practice. If you enjoy what you hear, don't forget to subscribe, to follow our pages, and to share this podcast with someone else so we can spread the seeds of light together. And this week, we're going to be reflecting on one of perhaps the most beautiful and profound divine laws revealed by Spiritism, the law of society, as we find in the Spirit's book by Allan Kardec. We live in times of great transformation, where individualism, haste, isolation often seem to dominate. Many people feel lonely nowadays, even when surrounded by others. But were we really created to live apart, perhaps? What does Spiritism teach us about coexistence and about the relationships that weave our spiritual journey? Let's discover together why no one evolves alone and how this divine law can help us build more harmonious and meaningful relationships, shall we? Starting here in the Spirit's book, question 766, Kardec asks them whether social life is in man's nature. We say that we humans are social creatures. Is that in our nature? And the spirits are going to answer, certainly. God made man for living in society. God has not given him uselessly the faculty of speech and all the other faculties necessary to social life. And that is such a meaningful answer, isn't it? Because that means living in society is a natural law, as natural and divine as the laws of gravity, of progress, laws of labor. God created us to live together, to learn from one another, and to evolve in unity. Isolation goes against the divine order because prolonged solitude weakens and stagnates the soul. We learn in Spiritism how absolute solitude is actually contrary to the laws of the universe. Life is an interdependence of all beings. So we are, therefore, my dear friends, relational beings by nature, of course, and even pure spirits live in organized spiritual societies guided by love and by harmony. Human coexistence is the great laboratory of the soul, we can imagine. It's through contact with others that we uncover our own flaws, we exercise patience, and we learn the true meaning of love. In the Gospel according to Spiritism, we learn, and we talked about this in the previous episode, how a true Spiritist is recognized by his moral transformation and by the effort he makes to conquer his bad inclinations. And where do we usually see these imperfections appear? Exactly in our relationships, exactly in our interactions with other people, in our family, at work, in society. Oftentimes we see that the other person becomes a sort of mirror reflecting these areas within us that still need growth. It's easy to be patient when you're alone. It's difficult to be patient with someone else who sees differently than you. It's easy to love humanity in theory. It is much harder to love a specific person who tests our limits, sometimes daily even. And that's where the gospel becomes alive, because coexistence is the field where moral evolution is cultivated. If we go to the Spirit's book, question 774, Kardec is going to ask, what would man be if he lived in absolute isolation? And the spirits are going to say, he would be a brute. The social instinct is in man's nature, and without social relations, he would fall back into barbarity. So the family, therefore, is our first school in learning the law of societies. The family is the place where we learn not to live in isolation. It's there that we practice forgiveness, understanding, patience, love, service, even difficult relationships, between parents, between children, partners, or even siblings, are sacred opportunities for reconciliation and progress, which, as we learn, they are spirits oftentimes reunited to learn how to love again. And we discussed this one in this episode on reincarnation. But as our circle widens to the community, to the society in general, every relationship then becomes a lesson in charity, in cooperation. We are, my dear friends, called to work on ourselves and to help others in the process. And we do live in paradoxical times if we think about it, because we have more ways than ever to communicate with people, but loneliness continues to grow with this epidemic of loneliness. We are all digitally connected nowadays, but often so spiritually disconnected. The law of society invites us to rediscover authentic relationships, not based on convenience or appearances, but on affinity, on empathy, on compassion. Even as we learn in chapter 20 of the Gospel according to Spiritism, true charity is benevolence toward everyone, indulgence toward the imperfections of others, and forgiveness of offenses, which goes in line with what we also learned in the Spirits book when they asked the spirits, how did Jesus understand charity? Benevolence towards everyone, indulgence towards the imperfections of others, and forgiveness of offenses. These are things that relate to other human beings. And that is the true foundation of coexistence. When we learn to see others with kindness instead of judgment, we open our hearts, my dear friends, for divine love to flow through us. When we leave the physical body, we also don't stop living in society. In the spirit world, we continue to live within communities of affinity, learning and cooperating. If we have cultivated good things here, of course, because if not, we're going to go to exactly the place that we have been cultivating with our actions, with our thoughts. So the kind of society we build here, whether of love or whether of selfishness, that's the one we will find there. So every time we help create a more fraternal society on earth, we're also preparing our home in the world of spirits. We're also preparing where we're going to be and who we're going to be living with once we discarnate, which is going to come to every one of us. All right, now that we have reflected on the teachings, let's look at practical ways to live this divine law in our daily lives, just as we usually do with this podcast. So I brought a couple of things here, my dear friends. Number one, practice compassion, listening. Oftentimes people don't need advice. They just need to be heard. They just need to talk. Listening with the heart, being there for them is an act of charity. So taking a few minutes each day to truly listen to someone without interrupting or judgment. It's a great way to practice charity and also to practice patience within ourselves too, and being more empathetic and understanding of others. Number two, cultivate kindness. Small gestures have great power. A smile, a thank you, a sincere good morning. Kindness is a spiritual energy that harmonizes homes and workplaces. So let's try to find small opportunities to cultivate these gestures of small kindness that we don't really know how to measure how big or how small they are, but we can definitely be in control of our gestures, of our actions. Number three, I'm going to say serve with joy. Our relationships grow stronger when we put our talents at the service of others. So at home, at work, in your spiritist group, if you have one, there's always something you can do to help. Just like our dear master said, whoever wants to be the great among you must be your servant. Number four, seek reconciliation. In times of conflict, The law of society calls us to humility, to peace, to forgiveness. So even if the other person doesn't respond, forgiving from the heart already brings freedom. Reconciling quickly with our adversary, like Jesus said, while we are on our way with Him, while we're on the way with our adversaries. Number 5, join spiritual study groups. Group study and prayer strengthen bonds and expand understanding. So practice like the gospel at home, perhaps, are powerful exercises of the law of society, uniting hearts through reflection, through prayer, so everybody can be on the same page and you can be studying, perhaps even listening to this podcast together as you're growing together, as you're reflecting together on how we can improve not only ourselves, but ourselves to our society, to our family. My dear friends, the law of society teaches us that we are all interconnected, children of the same Father, learning together the art of love. None of us can reach perfection alone. We need one another to grow, to understand, to forgive, to serve. To live in society, then, is not an accident. It's a divine calling. Every relationship, no matter how difficult, is a disguised lesson in love. So, my dear friends, let's strengthen fraternity in our homes, our workplaces, our communities, and even in the digital world. And when living together becomes challenging, let us remember the words of our dear Master Jesus, love one another as I have loved you. Because to love is the highest expression of the law of society. In the future, I intend to bring other laws as well so we can talk more about them. But today, we saw reflections that remind us to nurture the bonds that unite us. Thank you so much for joining me today in this episode of the Spiritist Companion podcast, where we explored the law of society. And as usual, if this message touched your heart, share it with someone who might need a word of light today. Until next time, keep loving, keep serving, and walking in faith. With fraternal love, your Spiritist Companion.